We have a special guest with us today, an author, NBA veteran, and current ESPN college basketball analyst. Stephen, thank you for being with us. From off the courts, what made you make that transition to television? So what was your favorite team? Because I saw that you played for the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah.
Now, Dennis Swanson, he said that you have a mental toughness to be a broadcast analyst. What do you think he means by that?
I see you've done your homework. That's good.
We have a special guest with us today, an author, NBA veteran, and current ESPN college basketball analyst. Stephen, thank you for being with us.
Hey, my pleasure.
Okay, so let's begin with your basketball career. So at what point did you decide that you wanted to retire?
Well, there was a point to where my knees started really hurting really bad, and some of the younger guys got a little bit more athletic than me, but there was also a point when I wanted to get on with the rest of my life. I had 10 years of professional basketball. I've been playing since I was 4 or 5. I've got 2 kids, and traveling overseas started to become a little bit more difficult, and so I had to not be quite as selfish and consider my family, and so 10 wonderful years of playing ball and then into my next career.
So what was your favorite team? Because I saw that you played for the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah. We were pretty bad, though, that year. I think we set the record for the most losses in Mavericks history, so it was good being in the area of Dallas and being in the NBA, but we had a pretty tough time. I enjoyed playing with the Detroit Pistons a lot. Grant Hill, Allen Houston, Joe Dumars, there were some great players on that team, and we had pretty good success that year.
Okay, so from off the courts, what made you make that transition to television?
Well, I studied broadcast journalism at the University of Illinois, and was very fortunate to be able to do a lot of internships and work with a number of different people in the off season when I was finished playing. And so my alma mater saw that I was had some demo reels and some things that I had done on local television in the Chicagoland area. And my first opportunity came as the men's radio color analyst for basketball. And then from there, I kind of made my transition into the television side.
Wow. Okay. So when you were in college, you and your coach went to ESPN, and you told the broadcaster that you wanted his job.
Yeah, I did.
So do you think that kind of, you had the confidence then, do you think that sparked your passion and ambition to keep forward?
You know, that's a great question, Jessica, because, I derive a lot of my confidence from my sports background. And, when you're in a situation and you feel pretty comfortable, it was my sophomore year, my college coach and I went on ESPN radio nationally. And the guy that we did the interview with was Dick Vitale, and he kind of ushered in the golden era of college basketball in the mid to late 80s. And so during the completion, or right at the end of the radio interview, we were still in line, and Dick Vitale says, Steve, you did a real good job. What do you want to do when for a living? I said, Dick, I want your job. Everybody else laughed, but I wasn't laughing because I was serious. And so my father suggested I write a letter to ESPN thanking them for the opportunity, and this is kind of what I wanted to do. And that started a long relationship with one of the most influential guys in the media business, Dennis Swanson. And he has opened a number of doors for me along the way. And so from that one little radio interview as a sophomore kind of, has kicked off a 20-year run in the broadcast field.
Now, Dennis Swanson, he said that you have a mental toughness to be a broadcast analyst. What do you think he means by that?
I see you've done your homework. That's good. A mental toughness. Dennis is an ex-Marine. And so he was always impressed by the way that I was able to command presence when I was on the floor during my 4 years at the University of Illinois. And so he likened my toughness, being in adverse situations, still being able to lead my teammates. And so he knew that he felt like I had the opportunity to take that from the basketball court onto the broadcast field. And I've been fairly successful at it.
Okay. Now, you're an author as well. How to Make a League Without Picking Up the Rock. What is the rock?
It's kind of a play on words. In college, track athletes talked about the Olympics as being the league. Baseball players, Major League Baseball, football, NFL. We talked about the NBA. And so many times, especially young people of color, think that the only way to have success is to go through sports or entertainment. And so how to make the league without picking up the rock, meaning whether baseball, football, basketball, just showing young people that there are so many opportunities out there to be successful, and trying to expose them to wanting to get to college, learning how to network, trying to figure out what it is that their passion is. And so just a collection of some of my experiences in those things. And it seems to, I've gotten very good feedback from it.
Okay. And do you think that from your book you made the transition to be a motivational speaker, or vice versa? Were you a motivational speaker and that led you to want to write a book?
No, I had was married for 13 years, and my wife left me, and I was having a tough time. I was with CBS in Chicago as a sports reporter, and they had cut back on my time. And so a great friend of mine runs the Bulls Training Academy in Chicago Bulls Training Academy. And he said, I'll give you a certain fee if you can speak to these camps. And they had 100 camps that summer. He said, you can speak to as many as you want to. And I spoke to 53 camps in a 5.5-week period.
Wow. And
with that speaking, I was able to get a lot of the information that I put into the book. And so I kind of got that opportunity first. And then as a motivational speaker, it's good to have products and things that you can sell along with your speaking services. So that's kind of how that came about.
Now, your book is a guide for college students. Now, is it in general can everyone take something from it?
Well, it's actually for teenagers, for high school students.
Okay.
And so, and people can derive whatever they can from it. But there are some things in there, some of my personal experiences that I tie into some of the points that I try to make that adults have really appreciated, especially parents, because it's very tough to get some of those messages out to young people. And I try to use my exposure because a lot of young men will look up to me being an ex-NBA player, ex-professional basketball player, and now on television. And so those are two very attractive things to young people. And so I'm just trying to use what was given to me and try to turn it back and really affect young people.
So when you do your speaking, what is the biggest thing that you want your audience to leave with? What is the biggest lesson?
Typically, I talk to more youngsters, but I've started to get into the corporate side. But everybody encounters adversity. Everybody encounters adversity. And I know, you, Jessica, you're here at college having the time of your life, because you are having the time of your life. I hope you know that. It doesn't get any easier after this. So you will have times where you'll stumble. And, people see me on television, they've seen me play basketball, and they think, okay, this guy hasn't had any hardships. We all do. And so the biggest thing I try to share with young people is that you will encounter those, but how you use those as stepping stones or as walls will, really make a difference in how successful you want to be.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Jessica.
It's a pleasure. And Romy, it's back to you.